Today we are going to look at these piles of steamer trunks, and it's another great example and a great exercise in drawing in perspective. We have three different trunks here, and I want you to think of this as no difference than as if you were going to draw a building. I always start with the corner that's closest to me, so that would put us at this corner, this whole edge here. And then one other thing, let's look at this for example and talk about perspective. In perspective, we always have what they call a horizon line or an eye line. This is where your eye is looking at things. Anything below that eye line, you're going to see the top of. Anything above that, you're going to see the bottom of. Look at this. This is a great, here is, I'm going to hold this right up to the camera. Here is a pad of paper. Okay, you got that? And I'm going to hold it right up to my eye line. So you see it's very flat. I can't see it. But if I drop it below my eye line, I see the top of it. If I raise it above my eye line, you see that? I can see the bottom of it. All right? So that's, when I talk about eye line, that's what I mean. Now, sometimes many people will call this the horizon line. Well, the reason why they refer to that as the horizon line is so often in landscapes or standing outside, you're standing straight up and down. So your eye line is the same as the horizon line. Okay, you follow that? But if I took my head and tilted it, now my eye line is at a different vantage point than the horizon line, you see? All right, so I want you to realize that those terms can be interchangeable, but generally speaking, when I'm talking perspective, I'm trying to position us to draw perspective based upon our point of view, okay? All right, enough to talk like that, all right? So looking at this steamer trunk here, right about where I drew, this is the horizon line. And we know that is because the objects here, this is where it's almost perfectly flat. You see that? Now when I go below my eye line, look at this. Now I see the top of the steamer trunk, you see? And when I go above my eye line, I'm going to see the top. If I was to draw through this, I would see the top of that. So any object as you go above and below, right? So just stick that in your mind and remember that. So let's go ahead and start off with this bottom corner. And all I'm going to do now, this is more of a gesture. It's a bit of a guide. All right, I'm going to come in like this. All right. Let's go ahead and hit this vertical, and we're just gonna guesstimate that distance between those two. So I'm like right about there, I'm thinking. And then let's draw the other one, and that's gonna be maybe about out there, okay? We haven't even established where the bottom or the top is. We've just established these three verticals. Okay, let's get this bottom corner. All right, bottom corner. I just put a little dot right where that's going to go, and then let's try and match that. Angle. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. And of course, we're going to match the other angle as well. Okay, we're right about there. Okay, now let's move all the way up to where that eye line is, okay? And we're going to guesstimate this now. Looking at my drawing, I'm gonna go straight across. This should be a horizontal line, and this represents this opening. You see that? Just keep it light. Okay, let's go ahead and create a little bit of a perspective grid. It will help us. So starting with, I'm going to call this A, and this is going to be B over here, all right? And we'll call this C way over there. Let's go halfway, exactly halfway, right here, okay? And then go halfway on B, and then very lightly connect those two. Let's jump over to the far left and once again find the halfway point between those two marks, and then lightly connect these two. These are guides. We're not really drawing anything with the trunks quite yet. We're just going to use these to help us guide us. Back to A, let's divide this in half and divide the bottom in half too, exactly half, and then jump over to B and do the same, and then connect that. Jump over to C, do the same for C, halfway, halfway, connect that, and then connect that. Now these marks should be really light. They're just going to be guides. If you have an eraser, you could kind of lightly erase these little dots in the middle if they're going to be a distraction to you. If they're not a distraction to you, just go ahead and leave them. All right, so let's go ahead and draw our bottom trunk. Okay, first thing we have to determine is this proportion versus this proportion. You see that? So in your mind, can you kind of make a guess of what those are? I would almost say that this is twice that. You see that? So if that's the case, then I'm going to guesstimate that this bottom edge here, a little arrow, is right about there. It might be a little bit higher up, but that's a good spot. Once that's determined, now let's just kind of walk the side by following our guides, and then go the other distance, just kind of using our guides. And now I'm just kind of drawing the outside rim now. And this is the top of that trunk. Let's work on this edge right over here, okay? So I'm going to come down over here, and that's going to be right about there, I think. I'm going to still follow my guide. Now over here, this is interesting. It almost has a slight curve. All right, let's get the edge there, and let's get the edge there. And let's come over here, get this edge a little bit darker. And now on this side, over here, you're also going to have a little bit of a slight curve. You see that? I had to move my picture down just a little bit. That corner right there is, okay? So if I look at that relationship, it's going to be just about right about there. You see that? And I can also get my proportion wise, because look, there's the height of this, okay? Now compare that to the height of this lid right there, you see? So I could use that proportion and make sure I'm drawing it so it's high enough. Okay, let's go get the other corner now. And I'm going to use negative space. So look at this negative space there. You see this? See that negative space? Let's use that as a measuring guide for us. So I'm going to come in about maybe like that, right? And I can follow. Now this is gonna. I'm gonna follow my my grid there. It's still kind of visible. There's enough lines where I can make a pretty good guess of that angle. And now let's put in the back end. Now, once again, this is the back end. And where does that fall in relationship to this crate here? Now, one thing you could do, and this might be overkill, but if I draw an X here, that's going to give me the center point. So let's do that really lightly here. All right, so I know now based upon that, the back end of that trunk is going to be, that suitcase is going to be about there. Let's get the lid now, the open lid. And once again, let's use negative space. And we're going to kind of look at this, that shape, okay? And that would give us something maybe like that right there, I think. Okay, the lid, the back lid, let's drop a vertical. And we can kind of guesstimate the open lid up there, something like that maybe. And that is probably the hardest part of this drawing, of trying to get this thing in perspective. Now the rest will just be a matter of adding the different decorations. Now, the different components to it. Now, one thing I would suggest you do that's not in the picture, there really is, it doesn't show really a light side or a dark side. It's really flooded with light. So I would say maybe just drop a light tone. On this side. Doesn't have to be super dark, just enough to really kind of turn the corner for you. Okay, let's work on the middle trunk, all right? So we already have our center point right there, and I can see it kind of has this edge coming down like that. You see that? And now we could just slowly start to add these different details. And I'm going to kind of, I think, just kind of let you run with this. That's the hardest part is done, of trying to get that. The only other thing here that you might want to add is a nice, before you start throwing in your details, is a nice thick shadow where those two are sitting on top of each other. If you need to find the center, like for example, this, look at this. This strap right there is in the center of that trunk. So in order to do that, lightly draw an X. Lightly draw an X. And that will give you the center of a square. Okay. All right, there's another one over here. All right, let's get the, I'm kind of moving at my own pace here, and you can keep up if you want, or you might grab yourself a cup of tea and slow down a little bit. All right, looks like there's a latch right there, right? And then And I get these straights, by the way, by not drawing with my wrist, but using my whole forearm. I draw from my shoulder or my elbow, and you'll get a nice straight line. And I think that's going to do it for today. If you completed these drawings, if you tuned in, then you deserve a pat on the back because you just drew for over 30 minutes today, and that's all I ask. That will help you to become a better artist by spending only half an hour. One last thing before I let you go. When I draw my long lines, sometimes I'll push down and I'll pull up. I'll push down and I'll pull up. And that creates a nice tapering of that line. And it's something that I do that I like. So, hey, listen, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, okay? Hey, go out there, make your day great. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. If you do have additional questions, please join our Facebook group. It's totally for free. Post your questions in there. You can direct it toward me, or even down here in the comments below, you can ask a question and I will try and answer it my best. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Okay. Bye-bye.